Hey class, it's Caitlin Creel. I really wish I could be at the on-site, but I have some things taking me out of state that weekend, so I've decided to attempt to make a video that will demonstrate what I wanted to do, which is some craft ideas, some activity ideas for The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. He's written a lot of things, but I feel like we're probably almost familiar with The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I would read it, but I think we've all read it, and this might turn out to be a longish technique. I've tried to make a couple of other videos, but I need to cut down on time because I tend to ramble, such as I am doing now. So here we go. I found this book called The Art of Eric Carle, and it discusses how he makes the pictures in his books. It takes you through a step-by-step at one point. And shows how he paints. What he does is he paints tissue paper, and then he cuts it up and pastes it together to make the picture. So what I have here, I have this giant poster board, and I have a pencil outline, and this is what I've already done in other videos that didn't work out. But basically, you can't see the pencil outline, but it's this in bigger form. It looks kind of like an armadillo, but I swear when you get it done, it actually looks like a caterpillar. So what I'm going to show you is how he does this. So let's move this down. What he does is he takes some acrylic paint, or I think he generally uses acrylic paint, but you know, if you want to find a more washable paint, you can find washable acrylic paint, but still, to keep the mess down, then that could work. But what he does is he has water nearby, and he mixes water with the paint so that it's not super thick, and we'll paint this like one of the joints. And what you do is you pretty much just you just go crazy, like you just paint. You try different textures. In his example in the book, he actually uses paintbrushes, he uses some sponges, he ends up using little pieces of carpet that he paints, and then he puts texture on them. And so that's really interesting. And you just use whichever colors you want to use, and you never really know exactly how it's going to turn out once it dries, because it looks completely different from where you do it and when it dries. And so let's do some random textures in there and some colors. This is actually a really fun activity. I wasn't sure if it would be doable because of the mess or price or whatever, but it's not very expensive. You can get regular tissue paper at like Dollar Tree for 40 sheets for $1, and since they will be doing a smaller scale one, it won't take too much to actually do this, and the painting itself doesn't take very long, but it will be a 2-session craft because of the waiting for it to dry. So you could revisit, you know, we've talked about rereading the same stories and having that help with understanding and retention, but yeah, so basically you just paint it, and I'm actually going to move this for this next part. There we go. Okay, so you just paint it, and it dries, and that would be a few minutes. It really doesn't take very long at all, but the fun part is actually after it dries and you get to cut it out and see exactly what texture it has. That's what makes his books really cool, is you never know exactly where the textures are coming from. Like I said, he used carpet. You can use sponges, you can use your fingers. I mean, it's really just depends on how different or you want it to be. And so instead of waiting for that to dry and starting the video again like I thought about doing, I have just some green that I did the other day in another video when I was trying to do this. And for this purpose, I have an outline that I've already cut out for the joints or everything on this caterpillar, but like, okay, so I can show you the one that I did the other day. This is my small one that I did the other day, and I got to the point where I wasn't following the outline. I had an outline like the one on the board, but I just ended up freehanding it because it's more fun that way, to be quite honest. And yeah, okay, so I have an outline. I've actually already traced the outline, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. The craft itself doesn't take very long at all, but it's a lot of fun. It looks, you paint it and you think that doesn't look like it's going to be anything special. It just looks green and really messy and imperfect, but that's the really fun part of this project, is that it is imperfect, and that's what he does. Like, he takes these really ordinary brush strokes or textures, and he makes these really awesome patterns in these books. So I have that cut out, and then I just use a glue stick. He uses wallpaper paste or something, but glue sticks are easier in my opinion, so less messy, better for kids. I think this would work with older elementary ages, like 3rd or 4th grade. I mean, you could go up to 5th grade, you could go down to 2nd grade. It really just depends on your group of kids. If you don't want to make it a 2-part or a 2-session thing, you could always just show up with the tissue paper already painted. But I feel like that the fun of it is the fact that you can look at it and be like, I painted that, like I did that, you know. And so it was a very good paste job, but there's another joint, and we could cut another one out. Like I said, it would probably only take 2 tissue papers or something per kid. You would probably need to have, I suggested being a 2-session thing because I really do think it's more fun that they painted it themselves and they can see their artwork coming together, because it really does. It looks like a piece of art. Like, I really want to paint the smaller one, or not paint, frame the smaller one that I showed you guys earlier, because it turned out so well, and I really didn't think, I wasn't sure if it was going to be doable. There are a lot of ideas out there for crafts for the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Like, there's a popular one is tearing construction paper and pasting it down to make like a mosaic caterpillar, or if you wanted to, you could, like this, make a really big one, and you could have the kids paint tissue paper and then cut it up to make their favorite foods, and that could be the food that the Very Hungry Caterpillar eats, and that could go along with story time, or really just depends. I have a couple, like I tried out the tearing construction paper thing, I mean, you could just give them an outline of a caterpillar and let them color it and have that go along with it. It really just depends on which age group or what exactly you think they would want to do. Okay, and we'll paste this one too. I feel like this is a really fun project that you could do in the library. You could do it in classrooms. You could do it if the library has like a day camp or something. Then you could do that one in one day, because you could start out the morning and have them paint the tissue paper, and then later you could cut it out, because it really doesn't take very long to dry at all. It's actually really fast. And I showed this to one of my friends, and she was like, "No, I want a pickle," because it looks kind of like a pickle. But yeah. So it's really simple. It looks like it would take a lot of work, but I've had a lot of fun doing this over spring break, because I knew I needed to try it out before I actually recommended it. It will be messy, but I feel like the not super messy. And I feel like the best crafts are often really messy. That's why you need water, or washable paint. So you could use a washable acrylic. I feel like acrylic works the best. Or you could use, like with this, I used oil pastels for the little fur, but you could use crayons or color pencils or whatever. Here's what I was talking about with the mosaic. You just rip up paper. It's not as awesome in my opinion, but I know I always enjoyed doing this when I was a kid. This one, and then just the coloring. You can just color it. But I really feel like this is a really great project, and I feel like I really would have really enjoyed it when I was younger, because you do come out with something that looks really amazing, and it really doesn't take that much work. I mean, he puts a lot of work into it because he has ideas of what he wants his stories to feel like, but if you're just sort of imitating him then and doing one picture, then, you know, it's not as in-depth, I guess. You're not making up the story because the story's already been told. But they can use different colors. They don't have to match the colors. I've just always been a traditionalist like that, you know. If I was coloring a picture in a coloring book, then I wanted it to be as close to the colors used in real life as possible. But there's so many things you could do with this, or you don't have to do the Very Hungry Caterpillar. You could do brown bear, what do you see? Or you could do the grumpy ladybug. Or you could do any number of his books, because he has a great just breadth of work. So I think that's my technique. I hope I demonstrated it well enough. My paper on the floor is already practically dry, so maybe you could do it if you have like an hour to devote to this. But I think the 2-session thing would work the best. And yeah, so that's my technique. I hope you guys have a really great day, and I hope that I will see you soon on the internet. So bye.